Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Wednesday, July 9th, and we are in the middle of summer. It is a light volume kind of a market. Nothing much is going on. Volume on the ES, 75,000 contracts, 100,000 on the micros. Not much is going on, I had to say. So light volume is it's what's happening. It's like week after July 4th. It just people on vacation and whatnot. So expect kind of the doldrums kind of trading with some violent swings when you get some action. Today's news, we have the mortgage apps came out at 7 a.m. this morning. We're all to the upside. Good numbers on the mortgage applications. Wholesale, 10 o'clock we get wholesale inventories. On 10:30 we get the oil report. 1 o'clock we have a 10-year auction, and 2 o'clock we get the Fed minutes. Fed minutes could potentially do something. Sometimes you get a reaction on that. But I think people are kind of trying to figure out when he's going to cut. If he's putting himself in that really bad spot where all his metrics are saying you should be cutting, but he's stubbornly saying, we're going to hold off a little bit longer. Anyway, so that Fed share is getting a lot of pressure right now. And they're just waiting to see if these tariffs is going to cost something, but we'll see. And when we know what the pressures are on the Fed chair. It's been saying it's going to cut. It cut 50 basis points before the election, and then now it's not cutting at all. So it feels very political, doesn't it? Anyway, the news this morning is anemic. Nothing much going on. Same's going to be for tomorrow's trading. We have jobless claims for tomorrow, and then nothing going on Friday. So pretty light news day or news week. So starting off on the ES right now, we're going to be, guess what, the range bound. So I folded this together. We had this, we split out, I believe it was not, yeah, something like that. We can split this up if you want to and be cute about it. But I just folded this back together again. They've been trading back and forth here. So I'm thinking that we may have a distribution building here with the lower end at 62.20s, the upper edge here at the 63.20, so about a 100-point range. And we're trading pretty much in the middle of that range right now. So starting off range bound, I'm going to be look at maybe 2-3 levels up, 2-3 levels down, and then we'll see if we get more than that. We may have a directional move going on there. So initially looking to sell strength at the against the 68 or 62.85s, 6300s, 63 10s, 63.15s for rotations back up, back down again. And that takes us right up here to that upper area, that three letter edge right here at the 63.15s. That's our upper edge. And looking to buy weakness, 62.75s, 65s, 60s, 55s, 45s, 35s, and then you can keep going lower to the 25s here right below that. So 25s right below that. So we got some range back and forth. We're in the, smack in the middle of it. So you can look at maybe 2, maybe 3 levels down, 2, maybe 3 levels up, and then we may have a directional move going on. But unless they break above the 63.15s with some little bit of convincing volume, or start taking out that 62.25 level on the downside here, we're going to be probably going to be staying range bound. So as they approach the edges, we're looking for short setups on the way up, looking to buy on the way down, assuming that resistance or the edges are going to hold, and we're going to be pretty much rotating back to the middle. So that's the starting point, and I think that's going to be the rest of the week exactly the same thing. Range bound trading, you're going to get rotations, you're going to get these crazy swings we saw yesterday when they fake you out and then run it right across the range and totally mess things up. But I would just stay range bound, and if you see a move to the downside, I would not be trying to chase early weakness or early strength. Usually that you can do that early on, but it's been pretty volatile and with pretty rapid swings, so it's a little bit less probable that that's going to work well. So we're going to be try to be patient to wait for that to get to support or resistance, and then try to fade those edges back to the mean. So looking for short against the 62.85s, The 6300, 6310, 6315s for rotations back down. Looking to buy against support 6275, 65, 50, 60s, 55s, down to the 45s, 35s, and the 25s here for rotations back up again. So there you have it. That's pretty much it. If you can avoid trading this week, I mean, a week like this, you just have to be careful not to over trade it. There's not a lot of action, right? You can see some burst of activity, but don't expect follow-throughs or anything like that, unless there's a piece of news which comes out, which creates some sort of follow-through momentum in the market. But if it's just these algos, quick runs up and down, you just had unless you're on them early, you don't chase them because yes, you're just going to find yourself on the wrong side of that trade. Bond market pretty much range bound as well. They are pretty much they're right back here. They were drifting down to the lower edges right now. They were up here against these upper edges for a while, drifting lower. But you can see how obvious that range is. So lower edge 111, 15 to 20. Upper edge 115. So there's a 111, 15, 16 up to the 112. So I should say it's kind of the range. And then you have 115 up to the 115, 16 is the upper edge. And we are pretty much in that range right now, building value. So I would just start off range bound on the bonds. So same story there. Look to sell against the 13 12s and the 13, 16 to 18s. Looking to buy against, at this point, aggressive would be 113. We are right there now. 112, 28, 12, 22s for rotations back up. If they keep going, the chances are we may see a test of these lower edges. That may certainly happen. They've been drifting across the range right now. So if they keep going, I would maybe favor the short side just to get started to see if they can take it lower. But for the day session, I would just emphasize primarily range-bound trading. It's not directionally moving directionally right now. On the Nasdaq, pretty much range-bound there as well. We are right in this area. I folded that together here. Nice four-letter edge here at the 590 600s. Three-letter edge here at the 23,020s. And we're trading in this range right now. So I would start range bound, looking to sell strength against the 950s, 980s, 23,020s for rotations back down. Looking to buy against the 870s, 840s, 820s, 770s, down to the 730s. And you got a little bit more range on the downside here. So if I scroll it down, you'll see the rest of the ranges here. But I would say if they start taking out the 780s here, that lower edge, I would start leaning in on the short side and look for a rundown here to the 600s. It could be a nice move to the downside setting up at that point. So here we have the 730s, and that's kind of I believe if I split that thing out here, not quite. Yeah. So we'll leave that for now. That's why I folded it together because it's been going back and forth there. So, but I would look at the last rotation down here was down at that 780 level. So if that comes out, I would probably be more inclined to lean in on the short side, more of a directional move happening. But initially, not going to be very directional at all. That's going to look for fadey edges back to the mean. So initially looking to get short against the 950s, 980s, 23,020s, or 15 to 20s, up to that 23,060s. That mode could potentially be a nice short. But pretty much these two areas, the 15s, the 23,015s, and the 50s, these two resistance areas, if they come out, we are probably heading higher at that point. And below that below this 780s, we are probably heading lower. So I'm looking to buy against 870s, 840s, 820s down to the 780s for rotations back up again. So that's how we get started. That's flat out range bound trading. And the biggest caveat is these moves when it starts moving fast and then and it's just 2-3 bars, like 4 or 5 minute intervals. Just be careful. I mean, I I tried something yesterday, and you can see how easily they can reverse and get you caught and really run the market against you. So just had to be cautious about that. When it looks obvious, it probably is, and don't chase it. So that's the ES and the bonds. Sorry, that's the Nasdaq and the bonds. Looking at the oil and gold. So starting with gold, pretty much holding at that lower edge at the 3300 level, down right at the low volume area. The capital flow, let me see if I can get my capital flow on gold. I sent out an email yesterday about the rollover, so you got those. And so we are down here at that lower edge right now. And if they start taking out that 3290 to 3300, and you have a volume edge right here, it's in the overlay. And you can see how this whole thing tapers off on the way down there. But here you have the low volume area we need to take out if they're going to head lower. And so far they've been down here. They have not quite retraced in the overnight. So I thought they're going to have a little bit more of a retracement going on here in the overnight, but they were actually taking that lower. So I'm going to start off from the short side and see if they can retest this low. Chances are it could already have happened looking at the overnight. And if so, that would be they take out that London high at 3304. Could be a long trade in there. Rotation up here to the 9s, maybe even the 16s. Could be that the retest held and they're heading higher at this point. If not, they could be also another retest of that low in the market. A possibility for another retest of that low. And if that happens, that could be a nice retest to get long against. If that support area, these two support areas comes out at 94 and the 89s here, that would be the lower end of this range. And I think at that point, I think they're going to probe right into that low volume area. You probably need a piece of news to take it out. So I would not be surprised if this holds now and they start trading this back up again, staying in the range. So I'm going to be looking to buy against that 94s and the 89s if it gets back down there. Initially, I'm looking for short against the 03s, the 9s, and the 16s for rotations back down. Just a little bit cautious that if they keep going, they could be that retest already held and we're heading back up again. So, but I'm going to look for those short opportunity. Let's see if it sets up in a good way. So that's gold. If the equity markets keeps trending higher, it could be another rotation out of gold into equities, because that's going to, I mean, that gives you a return. Gold doesn't quite do anything unless the value changes on it. And then finally, oil. So oil is slowly grinding higher. It's in the overnight, back up here at the 68.80s. So staying on the long side of oil. Let me see if I can find my capital flow on oil. There it is. So we're up here flirting with these edges, a little nice low volume area at the 6850 right here. That's up there where they're retesting it. That comes out. I mean, looking for retracement all the way up here to 73s. So I doubt it. This was when they had the shooting war. So I would think that they would be unlikely to get out there unless something geopolitically happens. But the Houthi thing going on there could very well be what's slowly driving this higher. As soon as they resolve that, if it even needs to be resolved, they may work something else out on that part. But we will see. I would watch that situation, but I doubt that conflict could escalate oil prices too badly. They'll knock it down pretty quick if that happens. So oil drifting higher up to that 68.50s, and let's see if they can take it higher. At this point, I will be looking for a retest of that low volume area at the 68.80s here, and let me see 68.50s. See if they can take it, if they can take out that area. But if they cannot, and that holds, we may see another little rotation towards the downside. So we'll see if they have enough juice to take this higher or not. But I would start from the long side, though. I would look to buy against that 68.30s, 68 for rotations back up. If they trade below 68, I'm taking out that long bias again. It could very well be that this range now is extending a little bit to the upside. So, but staying on the long side still, and see at least to get started. Then we'll see how it develops throughout the day here. We are getting an oil report today. Yep, oil. So we may get a little bit of action out of that one. So slight bias to the upside on oil, slight bias to the downside on gold to get started. Back to the ES, and so far, yes, everything's staying where it is. So the good news is that we're not seeing a lot of selling. So it's on that big bill, it looks like the tailwinds are strong enough to hold it together, even if it's a light volume kind of trading week, if you wish. Summer doldrums. Alrighty, guys, we'll wrap it there now. So good trading. Just be mindful, light volume, doldrum trading. Don't chase the market, and be patient. It's the hardest thing to do when it's light volume, but unless you have a piece of news driving it, doing a go with type of trading is probably a less profitable approach. Anyway, we'll leave it there. So good trading. I'll see you back at 11:30 later.